Hi, Lisa Louise Cook here again with Genealogy Gems podcast, and I'm really excited because I have snagged the Genia blogger himself, Thomas McKenty. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
And we can't miss you because you are totally coordinated here in your shinies.
This so all the other Genia blogging people know they can find me and spot me across the room here at Jamboree. So
that's right.
Yeah.
And I have seen you. I've seen you in the exhibit hall. I've seen you in classes.
Right.
What have you been doing so far? We're only halfway through.
I can't believe we're only halfway through because it's gone by quickly. I got in yesterday about 11 o'clock in the morning, and but it was a long day from Chicago, the flight and everything. But mostly I've been socializing, and I knew that would happen. I mean, I signed up for a lot of sessions, and I played hooky on a few of them, and I have to admit.
And you filled out Paula's survey, and you told her you were going to be in class.
Of course I did, yeah. But no, mostly it's been socializing, and I've actually been talking to people that don't have genealogy blogs that are very interested, and I think they've got certain hurdles mentally that they want to overcome. They're afraid of certain privacy issues, copyright issues. They don't think they could write well enough for a blog. So I'm not strong arming people into having a genealogy blog, but really I'm just laying the information out there for them and trying to alleviate some of their apprehensions.
Well, and let's talk about that because it's such a unique area within genealogy that you've kind of taken on and kind of become the father of the genealogy bloggers. We had a genealogy blogger summit this morning that you sponsored, the Genia bloggers sponsored, and I felt funny because I was up there on the panel, and I mean I love to blog and I do audio blogging and writing blogging and that kind of thing. But there's Thomas McKenty sitting in the audience. I felt like you should have been up there, but you were sponsoring it. I was sponsoring it, and I also, I didn't, and the panel was full by the time I hopped in and and decided to sponsor it. Also, but I really didn't want to have that much of an influence over the content. I thought it was great. I mean, people that didn't know the 8 panelists got to know them a lot better. But also, if you were brand new to blogging, you had some great tips yourself. You were picking up on the whole SEO thing. You might want to mention what SEO is, because here I am dropping an acronym. But the whole idea of using keywords, and I brought that up when you compose a title on a blog post. That was a great tip.
Yeah. The other thing I didn't add is don't use any funny characters. They say don't use like a pound symbol, even a question mark, because then it sort of gets scooted down the list from the other stuff, And
does a colon do that? I'm always doing colons.
Yeah, I try. Dashes I do, colons I don't do.
Right.
So, and actually, that is one of the next items I'm working on. We just came out with the genealogy blog primer over on the Genia Blogger site, and our next project is how to market your genealogy blog. So that's going to be a whole new presentation on what options, almost all of them free, are out there to market your blog and get yourself noticed.
Well, then let's talk about how did Genia bloggers start? Do you do this full time? I know that I have 10,000 questions, Thomas. I want to know, how many blogs do you have? Let's start there. How many blogs do you have?
I have about 11 blogs. I think 9 of them are genealogy related. One is my legal technology consulting business. And one is actually, it's funny how Ancestry Insider talked about the whole employee blog.
Yes.
One is started as an employee blog from my last job. I was actually laid off, and they didn't pay me my wages, nor did they pay 1,200 other people. So we started...
There's something to blog about.
Well, we started a blog. Actually, what happened, it was a way for me to coordinate the bankruptcy process to make sure that people got their money and got their claim in. And that's the power of a blog. I mean, you can reach a lot of people with a blog. So my 9 genealogy ones, I have one on obituaries from my ancestral hometown of Lowville, New York, in upstate New York.
Right.
I have one on New York State rural cemeteries. New York started a rural cemetery movement in the 1840s because they didn't want bodies buried. The whole cholera epidemics of the 1840s, they didn't want the bodies buried in the cities. So they required that there be cemeteries outside city limits. And it was also when Frederick Law Olmsted, who created Central Park, was starting the whole movement of parklands with rolling hills. So basically, this was the first landscaped cemetery movement in the country.
Wow.
So that's one blog, and I
Yeah.
also highlight all those cemeteries. And I have Destination Austin Family, which is my Austin line from Rhode Island and New York. I have Genia Bloggers, of course. Boot Camp for Genia Bloggers, which is our technical blog, which is great. I mean, it really, if you want to know how to do a widget or how to back up your blog, that's the place to go. And we've also gotten to the point where we're talking about WordPress blogs, not just Blogger blogs, which I
Okay.
think is important.
Yeah, it is.
And now I'm losing track. Oh, I also have one called And I Helped. You remember the not Kentucky Fried Chicken, Shake and Bake commercial?
Yeah.
Remember when the girl said, and I helped?
Oh,
well,
yeah.
it is a blog about my mother's recipes. So
Oh.
it's a genealogy blog based on family history, based on recipes that were handed down in my family. So that's one of my blogs. I also have one called Catskill Christmas, basically on Christmas traditions where I grew up in New York. So, yeah.
I take it you blog every day.
I blog every day. Some blogs they don't update every day.
Okay.
And that's one of the questions that came up quite a bit today during the Blogger Summit is I don't have the time to post every day. You don't have to post every day.
Right.
Some blogs I post, to be honest, once a month. But what people need to understand is when you blog, it's still sitting out there for people to find it on Google.
Exactly.
You know, if I'm posting my surnames, just because it's not fresh doesn't mean that someone's going to visit it they're going to visit it for the first time a month from now, 2 months from now, a year from now. So if you have to have a web presence. I really think you do. Every genealogist should have a blog, you know, and you can reveal as much information about yourself and your family as you want. You know, you have total control over that.
Right.
And that was, I think, one of the other perceptions is people think that everything's out in the public.
Well, they're looking for rules. Okay, tell me
Right.
the rules. And there really aren't rules. There's some guidelines,
Well, the
right?
thing is, I think there aren't rules because the platforms like Blogger and WordPress give you enough freedom to do what you want to do. But use some common sense.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm going to write about a living person, just like we do in genealogy, when you're producing a chart or you're uploading your family tree online, you don't list living relatives.
Right.
So if I'm going to write about a family story that involves a living person, I'm usually going to ask them first. I mean, that's only common courtesy. It's also a way to keep the families happy to do it that way. But so also there are some people that don't reveal even who they are. We have Ancestry
Yeah.
Insider, we have Footnote Maven, we have Dear Myrtle. If you try hard enough, you can find out who these people are, but that's also part of their branding. That's what I'm going to talk about in marketing your genealogy blog. Some people have a brand. You have a brand,
Yes.
Genealogy Gems,
Yes.
you know? And so when I think of you, I think of Genealogy Gems. I don't think of Lisa Louise Cook.
Right.
You know? And that means that the brand is successful. I mean,
Right.
to me, you know, I don't.
So that people have a sense of I know what I can look forward to when I go there, and I can actually start to anticipate the
Exactly.
next post.
Right, right. And so you can control your privacy. Copyright is another concern. They say, well, you know, I can't cite anything. That's not true. You have to understand how the fair use law works with copyright.
And you cover a lot of that in your the law with.
Actually, a great source is Craig Manson for that. His Genealogy, I mean, that's really where he got noticed.
Because he's a lawyer.
He is a lawyer, and
Yeah.
that's how he got noticed in 2007, where some copyright issues were coming up involving bloggers. And the other one, a great site that I mention a lot, is Stanford University in California, has a whole page on what their libraries should follow in terms of copyright rules, you know. So as a rule, I don't publish anything after 1923. I give it about 75 years, and so obituaries on my obituary blog is, you know, 75 years out. So but when in doubt, you know, go and look at our resources if you have a copyright question, you know. So yeah, but the other rules are also, you know, be yourself. I have to say that. And also know that you're going to become a better writer. If you think that have you become a better writer since you've been
I have.
blogging?
In fact, my mother, who reads my blog, I don't know who else does, but my mother reads my blog, and I sent her one that I did right after the banquet last night, where I was talking about Takufu Berry and the merging of technology and the desire for connectedness.
Right.
and she wrote me and she says, "When did you learn how to write like that?" And I think
isn't that
she
great?
says you're just using you're using better words.
More better words.
You're using better words, more descriptive words. And I thought, and I went back and I read it to see, and I thought, you know what? I guess it has evolved, and it's because I
It's
don't want to
also-
ramble. I want to say it well.
Right. I also think the reason you become a better writer is you read more blogs.
Yeah, that's
is
true.
you're exposed to different writing styles. People, Randy Seaver is a great writer. Footnote Maven I adore,
Mm-hmm.
and we all have different styles. And that's the one thing I had meant to mention during the blogging summit is people were saying, well, where do you get these templates? I like the look of this. Well, basically, email that person and say, how'd you do this? Where'd you get the template? Is it free? Because flattery is great. I mean, bloggers think that's great. When you say, I enjoyed your post, I enjoy your blog, I like the way this looks.
I even actually go through, whenever I spot a website that just catches my eye or
Yeah.
I love the colors, I bookmark it under my favorites.
Right.
Favorite websites, designs, favorite
Right,
writers,
right.
because sometimes you just need a fresh inspiration.
A lot of those, like geniabloggers.com, is based on a free WordPress template. And if you go down to the lower right corner, you will get a link to the website where I got the template from.
Oh, great.
So if you really see a template you like, you can find it that way. So just the possibilities are endless. And also, I think that's part of the problem why people don't get started with blogs, is they don't know where to start.
It can be a little overwhelming.
Sometimes there's freedom when there's not a lot of choices. When you're narrowed down, some people feel, in fact, it doesn't make sense, but there's a lot more freedom that way. But, that's what geniabloggers.com is there for. It's a free website. It's a free source. It does take up a lot of my time, but it really comes from the heart, and I enjoy it. But it's there to help people get started.
So where does your passion come for this? And how long have you known that this was a passion of yours and
Well,
that you
I've
wanted
been-
everyone to blog?
Well, I've been in the IT and the technical field for 25 years now. I started out working for the Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C., and someone threw one of the first IBM PCs on my desk in the 1980s and said, here, learn it and train everyone else in the department. So it's what we call an accidental trainer.
Yes.
And so I wound up training people that were close to retirement age. They were thinking of early retirement because they were so afraid of using a computer. So my specialty is working more with people that are in their 50s and 60s or retired and getting over that technophobia. So that's what I specialize in. And I've always been into genealogy for about 15 years, since my mother handed me a printed copy of the family genealogy from 1916. So a few years ago, I decided that to sort of blend both genealogy and technology together. And that's where the blogging comes from, So I think anyone can get started with a minimal amount of technical knowledge. But also, we've had some people like, we have an 87-year-old blogger. I don't know if you know Ernie's Journeys. The
No,
blog.
I'm not familiar with it.
From Colorado. He's 87. He used to be a radio cowboy in the 30s. He was called the Sunflower Wrangler.
Oh, wow.
And he and his daughter, Becky Jameson, both blog.
Oh, yeah, Becky,
Yeah.
no.
Well, this is Becky's father. So
Oh.
Becky does Grace and Glory,
Uh-huh.
and Ernie does Ernie's Journeys. And it's amazing the following that this 87-year-old man has, because he's basically putting down his memories of his radio cowboy days.
Oh,
you know,
how
so it goes to
fantastic.
show you that it can be any age you can get started, any technology level, and the Genia bloggers are a supportive community. That's what they're there for. So
What I think is so fun is that at this conference, we're going to have a chance to get together. We're doing a Facebook get together.
Right.
You've been kind of helping orchestrate that,
Right,
and then
right.
you put together this dinner tonight
dinner,
for
I think we
Genia
have
bloggers.
35 Genia bloggers or their guests, so we have total 35 people tonight.
I don't
for
know
dinner.
which I've been looking forward to more, doing the jamboree or doing the, because you see these people and you
I
feel like you
know.
get to know each other, but there's nothing like and you just get a big hug. They
Right,
walk up
right,
to the table and
right,
it's a big hug.
exactly,
It's not a handshake.
Right. I think what's going to happen tonight, we are going to have a group photo probably towards the end of dinner, and we also, someone has suggested maybe during each course get up and change seats. So you have a better
great
chance
idea.
to talk to other people.
Yes.
So we may actually do that. We have a our own room, and so basically it's going to be nice and quiet, and we can sort of let loose as much as we want and laugh and joke around. But really, it's been a great opportunity. Some of these people I have known for 2 years online, virtually.
Yeah.
But I've never gotten a chance to meet in person. So it's been great.
And exceeded your expectations?
Met and exceeded, and people, you think you know them from their blog.
Right.
They're always a little bit different.
Yeah.
They are. They are. There's always just a little something that's different. Yeah. So.
Well, it's true, and if anything, we look younger in our pictures, I think is
I
what
know
it is.
that. It depends on what picture you put up. So yeah.
Thomas, thank you so
Okay,
much
thank
for
you.
joining us here on the
Thank you.
show. We're going to have
Okay.
links to all of his blogs in the
Okay.
show notes.
Great,
And
great.
I will see you at dinner tonight.
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Okay.